I mean, I would do God of War later, but you know, I don't want to have to play this game like 100 fucking times. So if it's like, hey, you want me to fucking go through cock and ball torture, we'll play fucking God of War difficulty. I don't give a fuck. So, you know, it's totally up to you. Unfortunately, there's no one else to actually decide, so. Okay, that's fine. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and just fucking hit the intro here. So what we're doing is, uh, I've went through Metacritic a few times. I've went through the top 25% and the lower 25%. What this basically means is, hey, what are some of the best and worst games of all time on Metacritic? Basically, meaning the top, anything over 7.5 and up, and anything under 2.5. So anything that's like 2.5 and below, 7.5 and up, we're going to be doing a series on that. We're going to hit the fucking games and we're going to get them done. And there's a lot of very positively reviewed games. This is all based around Metacritic. It's not like Steam or anything, or like the PlayStation Store rating. It's all 100% based only around Metacritic and user score only. So if you go to Metacritic and you look at games, go to all games of all time, like best games of all time or whatever, you can sort by the user score, and you can go to like the last page and move up, or you can go from the front page and move down, whatever you want to do. And you will see some of the games that we're going to be probably playing here on in this series. So the first one, and the reason why this is the first one is because it's on hand, it's easy to fucking access. It's going to be the first game that I've actually streamed on console, even though I've only streamed a couple of games on console anyway. Or no, I haven't actually streamed any at all, and I've only streamed a few games in general, is what I'm meaning to say. So where we're at right now is, this is the game that's like, it's not incredibly long, and if you don't do a whole bunch of stuff, it's got a good story. It's a good plot. Like, the development of the characters are good. All around, this is one of the best games I've ever played. And honestly, I'm looking forward to playing through it again, because it's one of the only games that's just like a very linear based story. That's just like, I can play this again and again and again, and it wouldn't really bother me. I really enjoy it. The reason that games get good ratings is not simply like based on challenge alone, such as like Dark Souls. That's like a game that's like, everybody likes it because it's got challenge. In this case, we're going off of game, not only challenge, which, I mean, not saying that Dark Souls' only good part is its challenge. It also has things like its gameplay mechanics and its lore. If you look into it enough, there's kind of a story there. Not so much. You have to look for it to find it. Here, it's like thrown in your fucking face. But what we're looking at here is just like, these games are good because not only, in some cases on Metacritic, nostalgic value, but because they had a good premise, they're well written, and they're well designed. And that is the reason why God of War is like, I think like 9.1 or something like that. It goes from, I don't think anything is a straight 10 on Metacritic. It goes like 9.7, and then it's at 9.3 by the time it makes it to The Witcher, which is like the best game of all time. That's not some obscure, weird Japanese game. Or, so, not really weird Japanese game, but just like one of those more obscure games that nobody's really played. So that's why we're here with the God of War first. Next is going to be The Witcher. I'm going to finish it, get it done, start a new game plus, and then we're going to run from there. But yeah, so I'm just going to go ahead and we're just going to fucking jump right into it and get started. We're going to go with Give Me a Balanced Experience, and literally as soon as we fucking hit this button and we're good to go, it's going to take us straight into part of the story. So I'm going to try to chug. I'm not going to necessarily rush through this, so we're going to hit some points where it's like, we're going to do a couple side missions and hit some of the extra stuff to do, because just for the fact of, I want to try to show as much of the game as possible. So let's just go ahead and fucking go. I kind of want to point out before we start doing anything here that I've kind of noticed that there may be some strange audio related stuff. I'm not sure if that's based solely on the PlayStation itself or what, if it'll fix the next time we try. And I kind of see that it's like I'm not necessarily getting all the frames that, you know, I want. I don't know if it's based on the fact that I haven't necessarily, it's just not, the capture card's just not that great. We'll try this session and we'll see what happens. I may end up changing it. I may be like, put it on hold, let's get a new capture card that's a little bit better, higher rated, and then go from there. But yeah, let's just go ahead and continue on. I just thought I'd go ahead and talk about that. Yeah, there, I hear some of the crackling still going on. That kind of blows, and I hate to have to do that because, of course, I want to actually take this and put it on to, like, edit out the first bit a little bit and kind of try to put that on YouTube as an archive or something, but we'll see. Because I just hate that it's doing this. I don't know why it is. It's probably because the capture card is fucking old as fuck. It's kind of been sitting around for a few years.
Found some.
Get in the boat, boy.
Hopefully once the actual gameplay starts, we won't hear as much crackling anymore. It could just be the fire and like the wind and stuff. We'll see. No, I can hear the crackling in the music actually.
Still want me to tie it to the boat?
I'm kind of hoping it works out okay. That's primarily the one thing, is I just hate seeing the game be like, yep, I'm fucking gonna run horribly. But this is a good way to kind of see, like, hey, what is it like to fucking play the PlayStation and do all this stuff. So we'll see what happens.
Father?
What?
Did something change? The forest feels different.
Yeah, this could be a lot of different things.
Try not to dwell on it.
I don't hear it when I'm playing this game on its own, and I don't hear it over a TV. It's usually only when I'm doing this. This is the first time I've heard this much crackling, but I'm not hearing it so much now. And the frame rate was good there for a minute. Then it gets to a cutscene and it's like trash. See, well, these aren't really necessarily cutscenes. They're cutscenes, but they're rendered in the game engine. Unlike some games, like I don't know a lot of games that don't do it inside of the game now. But games like ESO, they do their cinematics, you know, they're rendered outside of the game. And it's kind of the same thing with The Last of Us. A lot of that's rendered in game, but it's usually outside of the environment and it can look slightly better. So, you know, a lot of games now, they render their cutscenes actually in game itself, and Rockstar's been doing that with Grand Theft Auto for years.
That was the last.
Some games aren't necessarily the same. So basically where this game kind of picks up at is like, this is Kratos' wife, this is Atreus', which is the boy here, that's his mother. And it doesn't really necessarily give you an idea where she comes from or what she is, but well, it does later in the game,
Where
but
do I see my mother?
it doesn't actually give you a lot of lore on it. She just, all of a sudden, she's a thing, and you're like, well, what the fuck? Like, who's this? Though you don't really know how she links to necessarily to Kratos' story.
Mother, do they call to me? Mother, do they call to me? Mother, do they call to me? Mother, do they call to me?
Yeah, you can still hear some of the crackling going on in the music.
She's ready.
So he did. Just gotta be standing here. Well, let go of it. Crazy.
I'm sorry.
Squeeze.
I mean, it's a burn. I don't think you necessarily have to bandage it, but
It
nonetheless.
hurts. Now it is yours.
Well, now you never gave her no weapon for the path to Valhalla, which she would be going to anyway, actually. So
Show me.
Now?
Now.
wouldn't let her in there. So Kratos is like, instantly like, yeah, let's go fucking do this thing. He wants to give her time to burn.
What are we hunting?
You are hunting deer.
Which way?
In the direction of deer.
Okay, this way.
So a little side note about some things, and a lot of games do it now, and I really hate that they do it, and it gets on my nerves.
Why are we doing this now?
I need to know you can survive the journey.
Then we leave for the mountain?
Depends on you. Hunt.
So he's put his bow over
find?
his shoulder.
Tracks. Not deer, though. I'll keep looking.
He's put his bow over his shoulder, like that, which you're not supposed to do because the string, you can see that it bends over his shoulder, and when you do shit like
Boy.
that,
Miss these.
when you do shit like that, it's like if you held the tension of your bow back the entire time, it would lose the tension.
Mountains up?
Your mother taught you well.
So he's basically stretching the string of the bow,
Yeah.
and it's going to continuously be that way. The more that he wears it like that, it's going to lose its power. So, you know, it's you're not supposed to carry them like that. He could, like, if he had like a strap, he could take it off his shoulder and kind of slot it in there maybe or something, but you're not supposed to do things like that unless you're temporarily holding it that way. But if you're running around with it like that on the constant, it's going to eventually lose the string tension. So don't do things like that.
Gonna see what's up ahead.
Unless, of course, it's long enough for it to encompass your body to the point to where the string doesn't pull. But, you know. So there are, like, little collectible things. We're not going to get them all, but you can do this here. And it kind of shows, like, a little drawing of it. And then Atreus kind of writes something in the journal. But yeah, so
More tracks?
Yeah, but they're too round. Could be a wild boar.
Good.
so here's the funny thing about it
Now
is
what?
is that even though Kratos is like, hey, you know, I need to know that you can survive the journey and blah 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 and all this stuff like that, it's basically pointless because they don't really track anything through most of the rest of the game, and it's kind of like it's pretty much just going and killing stuff. It's not necessarily whether or not he knows what a wild boar is versus a deer, but I mean, it still is knowledge and expertise and all. So
This way, boy.
it's a pretty good jump.
Wait, deer tracks. They're fresh. This way.
And then, well, deer comes out like right over here. And it's actually a white stag.
Found it.
Slow down, boy.
Sorry.
You are hunting deer, not chasing it.
Yes, Father.
So we're definitely gonna try to go around and like get into the chests and pick up all the silver, the hack silver and shit, because that stuff's a currency. So like, I'm definitely not gonna skip that up. I'm gonna try to get all of it we can, and there's an extra reward to getting the
We broke our bridge.
to getting
How are we
the
gonna get across?
the fucking extra little collectible pieces and stuff. So now this is where we get the axe, and we're gonna.
Wow.
Go.
So throwing is a big mechanic. So,
It's here.
and then you can recall it. So it goes more into the reason why that happens later on. So.
Hold. What are you doing? Now his guard is up. Only fire. Only fire. When I tell you to fire.
I'm sorry.
Do not be sorry. Be better. Find it. Find it.
So like one of the reasons that primarily like adults in a way like this game is because, oh yeah, here's our first actual enemy.
No! You are not ready. Stay back.
Is because it kind of like shows the development of fatherhood and like kind of how like somebody in this time period, you know, fathers weren't really part of the home. So that was my fault for doing that. Thanks for letting me know on my right as he's attacking me, Atreus. Fathers weren't necessarily in the home that often, so it's kind of like when you start becoming a man, when you know you're a teenager and you're like, well, they're expecting you to know how to. They're starting to expect you to know how to like hunt and provide for your family and do a trade or like work. You know, your father's usually during this time period a pretty strict figure. He's not just like some average everyday guy or your mother, which is supposed to be real nice to you. And Kratos is not necessarily a nice person anyway. You need to get to hit me, loser. Kratos is not nice anyway, so it's like it's not a big deal. Like, not expecting Kratos to be a good guy.
Draugr.
But
They've never come this close to our
he starts to kind of learn how to act as a father and how to be more patient with Atreus and everything as the game progresses, which is one of the reasons people really adore this game, is because you get to see Kratos, who's always been like, I'm just angry and I'm gonna kill everybody guy, to hey, I'm gonna, you know, actually learn how to nurture my son and teach him the things that I know and teach him to be a decent person. So it's one of the things that people like most about this game in character development wise, which is part of the reason why I'm playing it anyway, and you know, of course, part of the reason why it is such
Find the edge, boy.
a great rating. or has such a great rating. So, and what I like the game because of that particular reason as well, not just based on the mechanics of the game. I don't know why I keep hitting X to mantle. It's just, I mean, it's just all around a solid game, gameplay wise. It has its flaws. Every game does, but in this case, I just like the way that they develop as characters. And what are you gonna do? Nothing? Oh, okay. It's one of the things about like wolves and stuff. It's just like kind of annoying. Like I'm pretty rusty. They're not the easiest to time block because they attack pretty fast.
We're just hungry.
So.
The wolves. They weren't mean. They were starving.
Yes, I imagine they were.
So, if you played through the game and you go back to this point, you'll notice some of these minute details. Later on in the game, take note if you're a person who's never played this game before, and you're watching this on like YouTube or something, because you know you're not here right now. I only have one viewer, but either way, if you're watching this later on and you're like, well, what does that mean and why am I pointing it out now? Well, you'll see later. You'll get what he means, how he knew how they were feeling. So he gets that later.
Use it. We can.
Or you'll understand the reason why later. Let me get another little extra piece here. I don't know if I'll find all the toys. There's one of them that is in a location I don't know if we can get to yet. I think. Maybe. I'm not sure. We'll see. So, one of the things I like is like when Kratos climbs the chain. He does it like all upper body. And it doesn't really necessarily aggravate me. I'm not like, why is he doing it all upper body? He shouldn't be able to, because I mean he's like fucking super strong or whatever, so it doesn't bother me necessarily that he's using his upper body pretty much for all of it. I've seen people use their upper body for it. It's interesting to me to see that he's doing it that way instead of actually just using his legs at all. I mean, he can move his body weight so well. What does it matter? Should we be in here? Does it fucking look like it matters to this guy? The dude committed fucking like mass deicide. So it doesn't matter to him. So we definitely want to get these because this is the only way you get, well, not the only way you get maximum health in the game, but it's one of the best ways to get more health. So, and I'll kind of like, while we're playing this game, I'm no expert, but I do know quite a bit about Norse mythology, and I'll be able to kind of like point out some things, some inconsistencies, and not only that, but like kind of explain some things about the game, the things that they mention and talk about. I may even be able to read runes and kind of like tell you what I kind of pronounce what it says. I'm not necessarily very good with runes, and I don't really remember every single one of them, but
Can I have my bow back now?
Can you hit it from here?
We should get closer.
But yeah, I mean, I'll try to point out some stuff like that, and
I went hunting with Mother a bunch of times.
just some interesting stuff.
Never wanted to take
So,
me. Why now?
It was her wish. And it was time.
Okay.
and he's kind of mentioning there, he's like, why are you gonna do it now? And Kratos is like, well, it's time to do it. It's time because, I mean, not only did his mom die, but it's time because Atreus is old enough. So this is it's like a really neat mechanic. We haven't been able to sprint yet, which is really weird. Just kind of like, yeah. How's that? We don't have any real incredibly interesting combos right now, and we haven't even learned how to sprint yet, which is really weird to me, but it is what it is. Cool. Kind of did a little permafrost there. One of the things I found that was interesting is it kind of introduced like some elemental damage. You can kind of like freeze dudes up and all that good stuff. Puts like some weakness on them, fire, electricity, stuff like that. There's also some really good puzzles in this game that I like a lot. They're not incredibly difficult, they're just really clever. And it's like, why make you sit there and try to find the solution to a puzzle for 5 gazillion years when you could just be like, hey, you know, here, the puzzle's kind of clairvoyant, it's not incredibly difficult to do, and it's just, it's fun. So, I don't remember, oh yeah, we can actually go this way. And I guess I will. I don't see why not. There's an interesting, not necessarily a cameo, but there's a comment that Atreus says here in just a second. He'll say it here in just a second once we kick these fucking wolves' asses. Fucking just throw hands at a fucking wolf, like who cares? Hello? Oh, and there's a fucking drawer here for what that's worth. Ooh, that's good shit. I don't know why he mentions that now, considering that we're not anywhere actually near the puzzle. But I don't remember a drawer ever actually being here, but.
I half expected to be a troll under that bridge.
You are not ready for trolls, boy.
I know, I just... Yes, Father.
I'm not really even gonna say anything, and the reason is because he kind of broke the fourth wall. He didn't really break the fourth wall, but he did a little bit. And why that is because in E3, like when they announced this game years ago, there was a troll under the bridge that attacked them at this exact location. And he says you're not ready for trolls, boy, but like here in probably like 5 minutes. It's not necessarily that I'm spoiling anything, but here in like 5 minutes, we're going to be fighting a troll, so like, it's whatever.
Atreus, follow me.
Be right there.
But yeah, so we'll pull this fucking gate back open, we'll freeze this little cog here, and then we'll go out here and fight the troll. I'm gonna stop streaming tonight right after we finish, like right when we start the journey. I'm not gonna play a whole lot tonight. Just kind of want to get a little brief introduction to the game, and besides, like, it'll be like an hour or so that we played the game, so.
Nice.
Pretty, it's okay, you know. We probably won't play more this week. It'll probably be next week before we play anymore. And that'll give us time maybe to actually get the capture card, a newer one. just because I think that it's kind of causing some problems, and I don't really like the way that it's used. There are better capture cards out there, so we'll just, you know, try that instead.
Look.
Wait for my mark. Relax. Do not think of it as an animal. It is simply a target. Clear your mind. Feet solid. Steady yourself. Exhale and release.
Okay, we gotta shoot there. Yeah. That's actually a good place to shoot. Is like right behind the leg, because it's like pretty much just pierces their lungs or their heart.
It's still alive.
I mean, yeah, it's gonna bleed out. That's what it does.
Your knife. No. Finish what you started.
First kill's always the hardest. After that, you get used to it.
I can't.
The craziest thing I find is that Atreus actually has tattoos, which is wild to me, because it's like he's a boy and he already has like Nordic tattoos on him. He has a runic tattoo on his neck. I just didn't get a good enough look at it to tell you what it says. I know there's a G in it and an I. I can't remember if there's an L. I think there's an O in it as well, because I think I'll point out some things later. You see what he was about to do there? He's like trying to comfort him, but he didn't actually manage to do it. He couldn't bring himself to do it. So this is, yeah, look, here's a troll right fucking here.
We're gonna fight that?
We have no choice.
Okay, time to fight. So this is where we get kind of introduced to Atreus able to shoot the bow and support you in battle. As you go about your time playing, he starts to do things on his own, starts to help you out more. It's actually really cool. So, and there you can see the number of arrows they like regen. So the interesting thing is I could actually have hit him there, but I was stupid. Nista. I don't know what that means, by the way. Didn't really bother old boy that much. Whoop. It's a bad throw. So you're supposed to dodge in different ways when these kind of things are happening. You can kind of like, you can kind of roll back. He might miss you, then you just roll to the side. Trolls are pretty linear in their attack methods. Some of them start throwing elementals at you. It's pretty cool. As long as you're rolling, you're usually unhittable. It's crazy because like I'm like killing a fucking troll by like hitting him in the leg a lot. I'm not even like necessarily hitting him in the chest or anything. Hey, you just cursed, boy. He doesn't really necessarily do that a lot in the game. I think that's like the only time I've ever heard Atreus curse. Yeah. I know what's going on. Hey. Let's just watch Atreus get his ass handed to him. And when that happens, he can't actually attack. But I find it funny that enemies actually will attack him. I can lock on as well. I just forgot to kind of mention that, I guess. Enemies will attack him, but he just never takes really any damage. Takes a while. And then you can do, you know, pretty cool stuff like this. Fucking kick his ass.
Boy.
Think I'm afraid of you! You're nothing to me!
Boy, look at me. Look at me, boy. Boy, look at me.
We did it.
You are not ready.
What? Are you serious? I found the deer. I proved myself. How am I not ready?
We are going home.
I haven't been sick in a long time. I can do this.
You are not ready.
And then he just fucking turns to him. But yeah, so
I am ready.
Do not speak again.
it's kind of like Atreus, like, well, I mean, I don't really know how old he is. I don't know if they ever mentioned it. But he's kind of like going through those like phases. It's just kind of like, hey, you know, I have those hormones hitting me, and it's like now I'm angry and stuff. But really, it's not only that. There are more reasons why, and you'll kind of see why he's like starting to kind of like get into that, like that angry thing where, and he's talking about being sick and things like that. You'll start seeing some of that stuff appear. But then it's talking about the stun damage and everything. We're gonna get into that here. If you hit them from behind, they actually take more damage, and then you can do like finishers or, you know, similar actions. Nah. When we get some more fucking moves, we'll be fucking murdering. And that kind of stuff also, I actually will probably do those a lot depending on the runes or the sockets that we get, because sometimes it'll like give you like a burst of health for doing it, and then there are other times where it'll it kind of like gives you invincibility. Plus, in some enemies, when you do that, they'll drop like a little health crystal and shit, so that's always pretty cool. This here is a door we'll have to come back to later. We don't have the thing to get in there, but you can always travel back, which is kind of the thing I like about this game. Even though it's somewhat linear and the environments aren't incredibly large, they look big in scale, and they look really nice, and they're stylized and all that stuff. I mean, like, look at the trees. They're actually pretty cool. I think they're all really unique. But you can kind of go wherever you want in the world, so unlike certain games where it gives you just specific areas to go. Yeah, we'll just do this. I like the indicators. I don't think God of War difficulty actually gives you those indicators, so and that actually will sometimes damage other enemies. You see that one enemy has died because I hit him with that. Or it actually managed to do damage. And then, like, them impacting things and stuff like that will do it. And then this is where we run into one of these things. Why it shows you this early, I have no idea. I just can't hit him with the axe because it will do no damage. The axe is a frost weapon, so I had to kick his ass with my hands. So, it's whatever.
I told you something was different about the forest.
And I told you not to speak.
I don't know exactly why we're not doing anything about the fire. Because, like, you know, that seems like a big deal to me. So, let's move on. And then there is the Hell's Bramble here. We could, I think you can climb back up and go that way back. So you don't have to go all the way back around. I don't even know if you can go all the way around. That's the only way to get back to that door. And you can't get rid of this just yet. So we'll get to that later.
Why would a fire troll burn Mother's garden?
Well, actually, no, excuse me. I actually want to point out, I don't want to interrupt Atreus too much, but I actually want to point out we're probably not going to actually do Valkyries. We might. We'll see.
We're so close to the house. And what was that frozen thing that attacked us?
I do not know. Now be silent. We are almost home.
I mean, we are home, but... if you can actually... no. Okay. Atreus already go inside? Oh, no, he didn't. Yeah, so there's, like... the X. There's one of them that's on Atreus' neck. That's... I don't know exactly sure how to say it, so... it's like Gebo. It's like G-E-B-O. Essentially is how you would spell that in the English language. It's pretty much just G. I forget exactly what it means. And then there's the R, the D, which is that thing. That's the X again. That's pretty sure that's Anzus, which is A. And then there's that. I'm wanting to say that's like an E sound, not like I or E, but it's kind of like eh, I think. I'd have to look some stuff up, but I know that that's E, like I, basically. But I think it's pronounced E. That's O. Then there's that one there. I think that's L. It's like Laguz, something like that. The top facing, so you think that that's like F, that one. You'd think that that'd be F. It's not. F is actually facing up. It's strange, but that's the way it is. And that's Uruz, which is fucking U. But his tattoo on his neck, I can't think I can read it from here. Sorry, Atreus, I don't mean to. I'm sure I could probably see it better in photo mode. He's not really necessarily a full texture render right now. He was in the cutscene. He's not now. Yeah, I can't read it. May just be my vision. I'm not sure.
Inside, boy.
It's like you may not necessarily even be getting her ashes at this point. You could be getting anybody's ashes. Or I'm not going to say anybody, but you can be getting the tree that you burned up. Like some of that's ash by now. But what difference does it really make? Put it in a little tiny ass pouch. Now you can kind of see the grief in his face, his expression. And then Atreus will just be like over there talking to himself, even though we're standing right here. Yeah, he doesn't know shit. He doesn't know anything about me or anything about life. He doesn't know anything. None of his experience matters.
You lost control.
That thing was trying to kill us. It's not like you don't get angry in a fight.
Anger can be a weapon. If you control it, use it. You clearly cannot. When you...
I haven't been sick in a long time. I'm better now.
Fine. Come on then.
You want me to hit you?
I want you to try.
Ow! What are you...
Try again.
Why are you doing that?
Too slow. Try again.
Cut it out!
Weak. Again. Again.
Stop it!
Again. Your anger. You can get lost in it. The path ahead is difficult. And you, Atreus, are clearly not ready.
What was that?
Quiet.
Sorry, major inspection.
There's no use hiding anymore. I know who you are.
That's exactly what it sounds like. Just
Do you know him?
More importantly, I know what you are.
Boy, beneath the floor. Now.
But you told me never to go down there. Who is that?
I do not know.
What's he talking about?
I do not know. Get in.
Just tell me what I want to know. No need for this to get bloody.
I thought you'd be bigger.
you just think this is a raggedy dude, but how did he get here?
Long way from home, aren't you?
What do you want?
Oh, you already know the answer to that.
Whatever it is you seek, I do not have it. You should move on.
And here I thought your kind was supposed to be so enlightened, so much better than us.
We'll find out what he
so
means
much
by this
smarter.
later.
And yet you hide out here in the woods like a coward.
You do not want this fight.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Leave my home.
You are going to have to kill me for that to happen.
I warned you.
Finally.
You would not listen.
Fine. My turn. How incredibly disappointing. Come on, then.
So we're going to end after this. But this is another good, like a good feature in the game, and kind of some things that are somewhat unexplainable, which is partially like, well, why Kratos always so strong fighting this motherfucker when he not strong fighting like the wolves and all that shit. But it's like, I think it's kind of like situational. Kratos just like kind of gets stronger as he fights, I think, but I don't really know. but the boss fights in general are really excellent in this game. Though it's kind of repetitive. There's not a whole lot of unique creatures in the game. But I mean, you will see more of these kind of boss fights later on as we go. So. He's supposed to kick his ass right now. But why? Why would he reserve his strength when he could just be like, yeah, I'll just like kill everything instantly? Fuck. That again. It's not incredibly dynamic all the time, as far as like the animations go, but they are still pretty good. And when I don't have to hit him when I swing him back like that, it really just depends. If I actually hit the button to do so, you'll kind of like counterattack him.
Tell me what I want.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they only come out when he fights other gods.
Why are there two beds in
Counter, like that's not necessary.
Leave my
Why the camera does that, I don't know. It looks like it kind of like runs over.
Who are you hiding?
slow and old? You should never have come to Midgard. So, care to try again?
You talk too much.
Yeah, get some of that.
You won't talk? Fine. Maybe whoever it is you got stashed in that house with.
Stashed them. He just like looked at that. It's like a deer in headlights. Like what?
Who are you afraid I'll find? Let's find out.
Just like fucking hands central. It's freaking amazing. I love Spartan Rage because it's fucking awesome. You actually get some abilities for this later, like throwing like a rock and, you know, shit like that. And the music gets better too. I think it's really good. There's a lot of dynamic music in this game, primarily just in you know, the boss fights, but either way. Well, I didn't get a good running attack there. That kind of sucked. It's like, how funny was it look to him when a dude like comes up and he like stops short and like just swings at nothing? That's right. God. Oh. This is so good. I love seeing fucking people get their ass beat. It's like his head crunched into the rock. He's like, oh fuck. Ugh.
sent me here. I just needed answers, but you had to act all proud. Throw whatever you have at me. I'll keep coming. That old body will give out. But before I end this, I want you to know one thing. I can't feel any of this.
So, if you know anything about Norse mythology, you'll already know what he meant.
Seen it with your own eyes.
You already know who he is. That's what I should say.
Nothing can. This fight is pointless. Your struggle is pointless. It didn't have to be this way. Pathetic. You can't win. I feel nothing. But you feel everything, yet you keep trying. I'm not my brother. And if you'd given me what I wanted, it wouldn't have ended this way. But no. Let's finish this. Can't beat me!
How the hell he pushed me back like that? I've never really seen that happen before. Ooh, I didn't block that in time. It's a pretty hard attack to block. You have to do it just perfect. The red circles mean that they're impossible to block. Like, they'll just break through. The, like, the little golden circles that appear are like, oh, hey, you can block this. It's just that you have to do it on time. Otherwise, it'll break your guard. And then you can be attacked consecutively. Oof. Where'd he go? Why don't you stop doing that and actually try to come in? Did that again. That's fine though. Hand sentry. Get the legs in. Yep. Trying to get out. Clever, but not fast enough.
I'd hope that you, of everyone I faced, would finally make me feel something, but you can't.
Was he? He knew me. Did he know my past? How did they find me
No, I think he was just assuming.
all this time? Faye, what do I do? Our son is not ready to carry your ashes to the top mountain. Ah. And neither am I. without you. But we cannot stay here.
Boy.
There was so much. I thought. You're all right.
I am all right. Come. Gather your things. We are leaving.
Thought I wasn't ready.
You are not. We have no choice now. Prove me wrong.
Yes, sir. The mountain. It's gonna be a long trip.
Yeah, if only you
But an
knew.
important one.
Whoa. How did this happen?
So, this is where we start on the. Yeah, this is talking about old homie. But yeah, like, it's it's definitely a longer game than just going right over there, and this is where the story begins and where we will be leaving off for today, because simply don't have. It's not necessarily that I don't have time. It's really more like, hey, you know, I kind of would rather just go to sleep and get some rest. And of course, like I said, I'm not going to play any more of this or anything until next week. And I'm kind of like glad that we've got a kind of a head start. And we probably won't play any of the worst games of all time. I guess we could say that. The worst games of all time until later anyway, because for one, some of them are a little obscure and kind of hard to get a hold of, and it will take time for me to actually get to the point to where I can play them. And not only that, a lot of them are actually sports games, like the NFL or like 2K, like the NFL 20 or Madden 20 or what the fuck ever it is, and then like 2K20 and FIFA 20, like the WWE 2K20 game or whatever. Like every single one of those is like bottom line garbage, and it's not just that's not my personal opinion. That's like a lot of people's personal opinion. So, but we're not gonna play those. And there are a lot more high-rated games than there are low-rated games. Like, you can get to the 2.5s in like 3 or 4 pages on Metacritic, while getting from 9.7 to as low as 7.5 or so. You had to go through, like, I can't even remember. I probably went through like 20 pages last night, and I still did not make it to 7.5. That's insanity. That's a lot of games. The only thing is, there's a difference between the games that are the worst rated of all time and the highest rated. Most of the really bad rated games kind of have a few ratings, and then there's like really high rated games that are like somebody who played the game and was like the only person in the world to play it came on Metacritic and was like, hey, I'm going to give it one of my 6 reviews or 6 ratings, and it's going to be a 10 out of 10. And then you go on there and you're like, oh, this is a really high rated game. And then you look and it's like, hey, guess what? It's got like 6 user ratings. And you're like, well, why would I even play it? So I'm not going to play games like that. I will Some of them I might play. It really depends. I'll go down the list and be like, hey, you know, do y'all want me to play this fucking game? In some cases, I may not be able to actually get a hold of it. In others, I will. So we will see for certain later down the line. But for now, some of the games that I will play is this. Next will be like The Witcher, and then we'll try to go straight down the line. There are a lot of N64 games, like Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, DK64, Majora's Mask, Ocarina of Time, I think like the Wind Waker's on there, Twilight Princess, Metroid Prime. There's a lot of games by Nintendo that are on there that are from like what I consider to really be the real golden era of Nintendo, when they were kind of like on par with everybody else as far as their game technology and their systems go. And they were, in some cases, I would even say ahead of everybody else. But the only thing is that getting a hold of those and actually playing them are a little different. Like, I still have some of the games. Like, I think I have DK64. Pretty sure I have Majora's Mask somewhere. And I know for a fact I have, like, Metroid Prime. Let's see. There's, like, a few other, like, Super Mario Sunshine. I have that one. I have the Reignited trilogy of Spyro. But I have the original games too. They're somewhere. I don't know how many of them work, so we'll see. But yeah, and plus, not to mention the fact that a lot of the low-rated games, they're actually DLCs. There's some stuff for the DLCs of certain games that they're really low rated because they're a DLC and they were just trash and nobody liked it. So when we're not going to play the DLC of a game. Unfortunately, I had to play Ghost Recon Breakpoint, which I'm going to be very unhappy with doing. I actually played it with two of my friends, and I hated almost every second of it. Unfortunately, we're going to have to play that game. And me. I'm going to have to play that game. So it's going to be like, there's going to be some games on the low end of the spectrum that are going to be like cock and ball torture. Like, they're just going to be garbage. Like, trash. Like, absolutely, like, why am I doing this to myself kind of thing. But it's what must be done because I want to do that low 25%. And, of course, it'll be a lot more fun to do the top 25 percentile. But I'm telling you, you have to be willing, if you're going to try to stick around for this. It's probably going to take years to get through all the top rated games of all time. I'm going to try to skip around. I'm going to skip some games that are like racing games, sports games. I'm going to try to go with games with like actual narrative and real good gameplay based around like an actual progression system. I just can't bring myself to go for like every single game. That's not gonna happen. I'm tired. I hate to have to say it, but yeah. So either way, got that all out of the way. We had a pretty decent little session tonight. Kind of wet your whistle. Get ready for next week. Next week we'll play like just as much as we can stand to do. And I won't necessarily, I'll try to get started a little earlier. I'm going to try to work everything out, get some hardware issues settled, software issues settled, and move on from there. But yeah, I'll go ahead and save on a new manual here, just so we know, hey, that this is the shit that we need. And yeah, so when we come back next Friday, we will start making our journey to the mountain little by little, and then we'll find out as we go quite a bit more about who is Atreus' mother, what does she do, who is the guy that attacked us, what has Kratos been doing, throughout that time, who really kind of is Atreus, we'll find that out as we go along. And we'll start knowing more about the world around us. I think it's, in my opinion, it's one of those really great games, and I'm happy to be playing it again really quick to get through it. And I'm really looking forward to The Witcher, because The Witcher is just like, if there's a prime example of the game that is like the greatest of all time, that's it. Like, I don't care what anybody says. You can like fucking go blow a donkey for all I care. Like, I'm not gonna put a filter on that shit. Like, fucking Witcher 3 and all this DLC, like, top of the line shit, man. And if you play the game, I would highly recommend playing it for yourself. Don't watch me play it. I'm serious. Like, I will say, I could be like, yeah, just everybody come watch me play. Like, give me 1,000 fucking viewers to come watch me fucking play God of War and Witcher and all that stuff like that. And a lot of people will watch it again because they've already played it and they enjoy the game. They want to see somebody else experience it, talk about it. They don't really care. However, if I had to say that if you've never played the game before, go experience it for yourself. Don't watch me fucking do it, because you're not getting any value necessarily out of that. Go play for yourself. Experience the game. It will be worth it. I'm telling you. It will be worth it. Especially The Witcher. Go experience those games. Enjoy them for yourself. But what we're going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead and shut it down. And we will be... I might play a little more this weekend. Not this. Just something. I may look through some of the worst games of all time and see if I can get a hold of them. But we may have to wait till next week for that. We'll see. Maybe. Possibly. And some games can be emulated. I'll look some more into that stuff as well. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down. And hope everybody has a good night. Get some sleep. And if we play any more this weekend, it'll be something other than God of War. So I look forward to doing some of that stuff as well. So that's, let me see. Where the heck is XSplit? Yep. Okay, cool. That is going to be it for me. So thanks a lot for showing up.